Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hoes, trolls, and all of the above, welcome to Movie of the Year 2021 wrap-up season. We are going to be doing our Oscar draft today. You guys, I couldn't be more excited to host this episode. My name is Cassie. You might know me from Superhero Show. They brought me over to be the host. This is probably the greatest honor I've ever had. I'm excited to lead everyone as we pick our Oscars. Each individual Oscar is we each get a trophy for every Oscar nom that we get as well. I believe, if I'm wrong, I'm sure Ryan will start screaming at me at any point.
Hey, Cassie, what the fuck are you doing? How are you? Are you going to ask us what we're wearing?
Yes, of course I was going to ask you what you're wearing. Ryan, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing Oscar de la Rental. Just made that up right now.
Is it a tux? What are you renting?
I rented half a tux.
Half a tux. The front, bottoms, tops. People need
Just
to know.
the front. It's like a hospital gown of a tux, and it's tied in the back, and you can see my little booty.
Thank you so much for sitting down. I really appreciate that. Ryan, you're the certified movie boy here. How do you think this is gonna go? You think you are gonna sweep it again yet another year?
I don't mean to be a dick, but I thought about you, like all of your guys' teams just add up to one versus mine, and I still think I can win.
I'd agree to that. I have
not to be a dick.
Yeah, I have no pride at all. I agree to that. I agree to that right
side
now.
of me really wants to contradict this, but I can't. It's probably accurate.
No, let's do that because I feel like the three of us could beat Ryan, but there is a legit chance that we couldn't.
I think it's the only way he might be taken down, and I wish this wasn't the case. I wish we had.
So we're gonna do 15 movies against 5 movies.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
When you put
agree
it that
to these
way,
terms?
that sounds pretty rough.
Ryan, do you want to be Mr. Movie Boy or not? All right, back it up here.
See, that's the thing is I don't want to do it, but when you say you might remove my title of Mr. Movie Boy if I don't do this, then we have to do it.
Imagine going over to Ryan's house and you're about to yell out, "Hey, Mr. Movie Boy," and you realize it no longer applies.
No longer.
I don't even know if I want to go now. I don't even know if I want to show up if I can't use that title. It's just not even worth
It's probably too much on the line here. I guess we'll stick with our normal rules. We'll all be separate teams. Ryan, you could be your own team here. We'll see how you do. Not voting well for it is we have Greg on here. Greg is the one who normally comes in second place. Greg, you know movies, and yet you aren't feeling confident. What are we going to do if even you aren't confident here?
I am not actually the one who often comes in second place. I almost always come in dead last. And sometimes there's been times where I've done like a lot of research first and I still get very last place. So this is just routinely kind of a sight of like humiliation for me. But I've moved beyond it and I've just accepted, this happens every year. Mm-hmm. What it is Cassie, is I panic in the moment. And I'm like, I gotta make a pick. And then I'll go like all the way down my list. Mm. And then Ryan will just be like, ooh, that might have been a 0. And then he'll be right. And sometimes I get 2, maybe 3 absolute zeros, no noms at all. So
every year, Greg basically goes through the same thing. His teams do, which is like first round, second round, sometimes even third round, incredible picks. And then he panics, the wheels come off. And then fourth round, like Face Off from 1997.
Yeah.
Fifth round, My Mother's Barbecue Sandwiches. Those aren't going to get nominated, Greg.
Greg, this year, you know what? You got me backing you up as host here. I'm not going to let you pick your mom's hamburgers or whatever, okay? I will make sure it's a movie from this year at the very least.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes for you.
I do appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime. We also have Books from Unnatural 20s here. How are you feeling about it, Books?
I'm really banking on beginner's luck. This is my first ever Oscar draft, and I'm just hoping that my wild card movie picks are the right ones, because that's all I've got going for me. I am the type of person that watches like Oscar hits 5 years after they come out, so I really don't know what's good or not.
That's the perfect time. In Books, last year, I have done this as a panelist before. They brought me on to make Taylor feel better before. Why do you think they've brought you on this year? Do you think it's because they think could you be a dark horse? Could you upset Ryan at all?
I feel like I could be the wild card to upset Ryan, or I could boost his ego. He's the one who invited me, so I feel like he's not going for the upset. He's going for boosting ego, and he's relying on the fact that if they call her book, she ain't no shit about movies.
And let's be clear, McKenna has never been on a podcast with me without upsetting me in some way.
That's true.
Ryan, I think we do have to address it here. Did you invite us three just to make you feel even better? Was it just such a bummer of a year and you had to like really boost your morale?
I think the panelists here are like the panelists of almost all podcasts, which is 3 people said yes.
And it was an honor to say yes. All right, you
For
guys,
sure.
let's go ahead and get to our draft picks. Before we do that, though, we have set the draft order. Those over on Patreon will be able to hear it happen real time, us setting that draft order. But for everyone else, when we come back, you're just going to see the draft order when it plays out.
Well, that is very, very funny. Or very sad. And perhaps now you have something to think about. Or very problematic. And perhaps we have something to think about. But in any event, I'm sure you have some reaction to what you're listening to. So why not check us out on the social media? You can go to Instagram or Twitter and find us at YourPopFilter. Email contacts@YourPopFilter. Hey, everybody. Keep watching them movies.
Time for us to actually get to picking our movies that we think are going to get the most nominations. Before we get to that, though, we've discussed the draft order. I'll go ahead and share it with the world right now. We got me going first, Book second, Greg third, Ryan fourth. Ryan, as our strategic movie boy here, is fourth a good position? What is the best position for a draft order here?
Now, Cassie, this is going to shock your goddamn socks off, but I think fourth is the best position. Now, most people would think that first is because you get first overall pick, but in a serpentine draft, I am last to pick, but I'm the first to pick in the second round. And here's why I'm excited. I think that there are 4 biggies this year.
Okay.
So we should all get one, and then it's sort of a crapshoot. Okay?
List 4 of them for the discerning listener who likes a bit of foreshadowing.
Hello, Mother, Billy Buckaroo, Across the Globe, and Post-it Note City.
Post-it note.
Those are the 4 big
City.
ones.
Okay, good. That's I think that's good for the listeners.
I've never seen 3 people furiously write down stuff more than right there. Now, if one of you guys, since I have the 4th pick, if one of you guys mess up and don't pick one of the 4 biggies, I get 2 of the 4 biggies, and it is game over. Ooh. So I'm guaranteed to get at least one because I'm the 4th seed. So now, one of these movies, I will say, nobody has seen. We have never talked about it before. I've never heard anybody talking about it before. Like, Greg and I have never talked about it before. So I might be wrong. I might just straight up be wrong that there's only 3 biggies, and I get shit out of luck. But that's why we play the game, baby.
Ryan, what are the chances that the 3 of us going before you don't pick one of those said big 3 that you think there are? What do you think?
It's 0% because Greg is before me.
Okay. All right. Great. So let's just go ahead, jump right into this. I'm going to go with my first pick, and starting it off right out the gate. This year, as my technique to win and take all of you guys down is, as we've said previously, Mike and Ryan have been screaming about movies, and last time they screamed a lot about The Power of the Dog.
Oh,
and,
shit!
You know, this is my technique is just going to be to kind of hurt Ryan and hopefully take what he loves most in this world. And I know he said a lot about this movie, so hopefully this does good for me. Power of the Dog. Also,
Cassie, I root for you in all things. And
yes.
Your only motivation for doing things is to try to hurt me as much as possible. No argument there from you.
That's why this friendship works, Ryan. It's flawless.
This movie has everything. Angry men, long periods where nothing happens.
Oh, God. And when nothing happens, then that camera is just like filming scenery, and people love that shit.
There's some good scenery in this movie, though. There's a part where Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst go out like for a picnic, and he's like, "I'm happy," and then the camera just shows like the area that they're in.
Yeah,
and it is so majestic. It looks like the Alps or something.
You could argue that scene was added just to get some more scenery in the movie.
Oh, dude, just a little cinematography cred.
Yeah.
I mean, that shot right there was one of the reasons I was like, maybe I should, if I get the chance to pick this one first, I should, because that was a cinematographer shot right there.
I will say, Cass, that there could be Oscar bias against Netflix. Like, people really don't want Netflix to win, but I don't think that'll affect the nominations. Like, it could get shut out. It could go 0 for 11 like The Irishman did, but it could still get those 11.
Yeah, all we care about here is noms, and this dog is going to nom up all those noms. But I do feel like, not to brag too much, is there a category that this movie probably won't get a nomination in? Because I feel like it's got, a fair amount
Best
of
original song.
Is for sure this one going to it. Best animation, this
Best
one.
documentary short.
Yeah.
Musical comedy?
You can't get 24 nominations, Cassie.
I think I can. I know some people. I'm going to go for it.
I know some people. Like, the documentary short team. You're just going to go over and say, it'd be a real shame if something were to happen to Power the Dog.
All right. Since I just killed it, let's go ahead and go on to our next person. Books, you are number 2 in the draft. What are you picking?
I'm going to go with another one that I've heard a lot of talk about because that's my strategy as well. Just going with what other people say. And I'm going to go with Drive My Car.
Drive My Car. What do you know about Drive My Car? I haven't heard anything about this one.
I don't know much. I will not lie.
Perfect.
I know it takes place in a car and there's driving for a portion of it. That I can tell you, and that sold me. So,
know what the Academy loves? Cars.
Driving. Simple acts that just sustain themselves.
It's a foreign language film, so that's one. Boom. That's a category, is foreign language. But here's the thing. I think that you could have waited, but Drive My Car is 3 hours long. And it's not typically Oscar, it's too smart for the Oscars, but no movie has ever won both the New York and LA Critics Society Awards and not been nominated. What could be happening is a little bit of we want to continue to look cool. And ever since Parasite won, the Academy sort of thinks that they look cool. So
that
Drive
was a cool move on their part.
It was. Drive My Car could be a surprise.
All right, let's see. Greg, let's see if we can get another top 3. You're our third pick. What movie are you thinking? Are you grabbing for these noms?
Okay. Well, I already feel so terrible before I even make the pick. I'm going to go with what's hard on these is I want it to be a movie I've seen. I want it to be a movie I've enjoyed. And I want it to be a movie that I think has broad appeal across all of the different things to get nominated for. So I'm going to go with Dune because that crosses off everything on those lists. I mean, because I could get sound design, and then
I think this is your year. I think this is going to be the biggest crossover movie. This is going to get all your, what do you call them, loudies?
Yeah, dude, the loudies,
and so much more. I think this is the number 1 pick. Honestly,
this is almost one of those movies that could get nominated for everything. Easily could get costume, easily could get production design, easily could get cinematography nominations, right? I think it's going to get nominated for everything and then win a couple of the loudies. But in terms of noms, I think this is going to bring me home. Dubby digits. Ryan, is that crazy to say dubby digits?
I do not. I mean, to say it like that in that manner,
that's a little crazy.
That's crazy.
No, it is technically this sci-fi. Is sci-fi normally get any respect? Is this just standing on its own outside of sci-fi? Is it art sci-fi? How is this one getting
That's
respected?
exactly it, Cassie. That's exactly it. Is that it's Denis Villeneuve and they think of this movie as art sci-fi, as opposed to a Star Wars movie, which is just too pop to get more than the loudies.
Again, because it's very slow and not that much happens for at least periods of it, and that's how you know it's an important movie.
You two, Cassie and Greg, are going to be competing for best name, best character name, because it's Bronco Henry versus Duncan Idaho.
Idaho, too.
That's going to be a hard one.
Those two dudes have chilled, obviously.
Those guys
like
smoke.
Jackie Daytona. If we can get we need to figure out out of those 3 who has the best name.
Dream rotation right there.
As far as I know, Duncan Idaho, Bronco Henry, and Jackie Daytona are the top 3 NASCAR drivers right now.
It sounds like I'm going to a family reunion, and I feel welcomed. I feel so welcomed in this space. All right, Ryan, let's go ahead and go to you. Did we snatch up the big 3 that you were thinking we would, and did we leave any good ones for you?
I think you guys left on the table the number 1 nomination getter.
Okay, cool.
But I'm going to save that for the second round just because I can.
Oh, so rude. That's a rude thing to do.
The one that I'm very confused about that I was talking about, which I could see being 10 or 2. What I'm going off of is we're on this trend, particularly with Roma, of directors, famous directors, basically making biopics, and in black and white. And Kenneth Branagh did this year to, like, everyone is super stoked that has seen Belfast, but nobody has seen it. Nobody is talking about it. What I'm thinking is that it did such a good job of screeners. Like, made sure everybody in the Academy were the only people that watched it. And they love giving people basically lifetime achievement awards.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to think Kenneth Branagh could be his last opportunity. And so I think it's going to rain on Belfast.
It's literally going to be like best actor, best supporting actor, best actress, best supporting actress, director, writer, original screenplay. And it's not going to. I think it's another one of these that isn't going to win many of them, because I have heard that it's kind of just like, it hits all the points, but not. No one sounds blown away by it yet.
Right, exactly. Everybody loves it, but in that like 2.5 star, 3 star way.
Yeah.
The one place that they screwed me is they did something very uncommon, which is to say, our main character is a child, so we're going to put him up for lead actor and not any of the adults. And fucks me. That means I can't get best actor because no one's going to nominate a child.
Ryan, I'm so sorry you're going to have to suffer in this way because of this movie. But it is almost like they made this movie specifically for our podcast. They were like, I don't want it to win anything. I just want to be nominated a hell of a lot, which I don't think movies typically aim for, but we respect it over here at Movie of the Year.
Definitely.
All right, Ryan, your number 2 pick, which is actually what you believe is a number 1, just because you're an asshole like that. Go ahead and drop it.
This movie has already won an Oscar. It has Rita Moreno in it, who already won an Oscar. It's Steven Spielberg. It's a musical. This movie is going to get fucking filled, and I think that the Oscars are going to do a pretty good job in fighting back against the rep, because everybody was very surprised that nobody went to see this movie. In a quarantine, by the way. That's why people don't go see these movies, but everybody's like, Steven Spielberg, is he done? Is he out? Will he never make another movie again? Because this movie only made $30 million. But it's an amazing movie. It's one of my favorites of the year. And also, like Greg was talking about with Dune, has it all. Costumes, cinematography, it's going to, and I think
song.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be one of those things where people just go down and like, okay, I have 4 nominees. Oh, West Side Story. Just fill in their ballots with, West Side Story.
And how do musicals typically fare? Is this another, have we just got like the art versions of
But this is like royalty though, right? This is like the musical of musicals, and it's the moment for it, and it's like, one of our biggest directors, maybe not like in his prime or anything, but, one of our biggest directors directing it.
And their decisions, like so many things they fixed. Like they made, I can't remember the character's name, like the sneaky spy, made
Mouse or something
like that. Made that trans person, and they made sure that all the Puerto Ricans were actually Puerto Rican, and all of these things that they fixed from the original. That like you can award previous Hollywood and award new Hollywood all at the same time.
Wow. Okay, I am starting to see how I am a bit of a fool for not picking that one, but it is how it goes sometimes. Good job at picking West Side Story, Ryan.
You know what, Cassie? You're the host. Just pick it.
Yeah, dude. Like, what's he going to say?
All right, I might have West Side Story in the next one. Let's actually go ahead and move on. Greg, because it is Serpentine order, you now get to go. What are you picking next?
Back to me. Okay, this is another movie that I've only heard of people seeing, and I think they like it, but I'm very excited about it. It is Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza, and it looks like a love note to the 1970s and a pure time. And I just think because he's maybe is our best working director right now, gonna wrap up a whole bunch of those nominations as well.
This is one that I heard Mike and Ryan screaming about a lot, so I feel like it's
got
a
a
good
Haim
pick.
sister.
It's got a Haim sister.
Yeah.
Also, it does feature. Is it all about monsters who put licorice on pizza? Licorice? How do you say that?
I can't wait until the middle of the movie when someone's like, it's like licorice pizza, and someone else is like, hey, what does that mean? And they're like, well, it's 2 things that are great on their own, but you wouldn't want them together, or whatever the reason for the name of the movie. And then I'm going to shout out so happy when I know what the fuck It's called
Why?
Licorice Pizza.
Do you guys
Why
want to
her?
know?
Yes,
Yeah.
Ryan. I haven't been able to sleep since this came out without
I've
knowing that.
I've seen the movie, but Greg and Cassie go off about it, about wondering about why it's called that. It's a record.
Oh, how cute. I love it.
Do you think they're going to get docked for that being unoriginal? What Greg threw out there was better than that. Can it get a
Yeah.
screenplay nom without Greg even writing that line in there?
There is that scene that Greg described, though, but where one of the characters is like, wow, it's like a licorice pizza. And then they both stare into the camera for 10 minutes.
Licorice Pizza.
As far as like buying and selling stock goes, I can't believe how much this has risen in Best Supporting Actor. Bradley Cooper comes in the last 20 minutes and steals the fucking movie, and he might actually
They
get it.
shouldn't let him do that.
Also, he's playing a sort of Hollywood royalty.
Yeah.
And they love that shit. It's a lock for screenplay. Lock for, I think, Best Picture. Costumes. It's just the leads are children, and that kind of fucks you out of that, you know? If they weren't kids, if they were more established adults, they're both so good in this movie, they would be locks. But they're children, and a lot of Oscar nominations are who can we get to come to our party? And nobody cares if they can get the third Haim sister to come to the party.
I would think she'd be rising up through the chart of Haim sisters right now, though. She's in a major Hollywood movie.
She's now the number 2 Haim sister.
I'm now number 2. Take that, Laura. I don't know their names.
No one does, Greg. Don't worry about it. All right, Books, let's go ahead and move on to you. What are you picking next?
I'm not sure. I'm just gonna go with one that I have on my list that I have seen this time. I'm gonna go with a movie that I have actually watched. And that's Coda, which is an Apple TV movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, it is an Apple, you did say Apple TV movie?
Apple TV movie.
That's TV movie.
But what
About
I will say about apples and Codas, which is Child of Deaf Adults, and it's a story about a hearing teen in a deaf family, and they actually used deaf actors, which is one big step for Hollywood. I think it was really well done. I think there's maybe some shots for this one for nominations. I don't know if it's going to win anything, but
Well, I think we're Best Picture. I think we're Best Supporting Actor because, and this is the first time actor who can't not be nominated. Like the guy who plays her dad.
oh, brilliant.
Is so crazy good. This is, I don't know how you reacted to this movie, Mac, but I watched this movie in small chunks while feeding my baby, and at one point she stopped eating and was just like, what's wrong? Why are you sobbing while feeding me? Like,
Yeah.
the last 10 minutes of this movie will rock your asshole off.
You will sob, you will cry. And I didn't know if it was just me because I tend to cry very easily at things like this. Like I do. I cried at an Apple Watch commercial the other day. Like it's just
It's
So
a good
anything
cry.
Apple.
But yeah, so Coda will make you sob.
And I think it's getting shit because it's a little too schmaltzy or sentimental, but man, when it works, it
You
works.
need a feel good if
Yeah,
it's
dude.
functioning. And I think in 2021 we needed a feel good that we were going to cry happy tears through.
The star of this, Cassie, the hearing daughter in the family is Amelia Clark, from Lock and Key, the daughter from Lock and Key.
Oh, damn.
And Lock and Key does not really show her range, believe it or not.
She is fantastic. Yeah, I didn't place her at first, and then I went and looked at her credits, and I was like, oh, this is a big difference.
Yeah, well, that's how good she is. You wouldn't notice that she was also in a terrible Netflix show.
And has there ever been an Apple TV movie nominated? Like, is this Apple TV, I don't think has put out many movies. I have no idea, but like, would this be the first for this?
They
I
put out a
think
lot of
so.
Tom Hanks movies.
Yeah, they're all dad movies, right?
Yeah, they put out one of the Irish animation company movies.
Yes, that movie was amazing.
And yeah, that was very good. So they've actually they're working on their production arm of the company, and I feel like they've been also really working the press to get their company's shows and movies up on the tops of people's lists. Every time I see an Apple show or movie on a list, it always feels like they maybe talked somebody into putting them on it or something. It's always and you should also check out this show, Mythic Quest. We like it. Watch it, please.
I think their whole plan was just to like sort of coast. And my the morning show was that was a big splash, but they were basically waiting for that hit. And then once Ted Lasso came out, then they were finally like, all right, we've arrived. Let's start going.
For all mankind. Watch it, everybody. It's now required.
All right, Books, it sounds like you got a pretty good pick. So you guys have been doing good strategy. It sounds like all of these have good buzz. I don't know if this movie had any good buzz at all, but I can tell you I was excited to see it. I haven't seen it, but it got the drama. I'm going to go with House of Gucci.
Oh,
and
shit.
I feel like
Yeah.
it has a little bit of, even though it's one that I want to see, I think it might still get some respect. At the very least, in actor noms. Because people be loving Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Jared Leto. Come on. How could it not?
Jared Leto has like 6. Nobody likes Jared Leto, and we give him an Oscar every single year.
It's something he's bribing people with Apple Watches. Apple is giving him the Apple Watches, and he's bribing them. Is the only reason.
Do you know why this is a good pick? Is because, Greg, sometimes we'll talk about how the editing award isn't best editing, but most editing.
Uh-huh.
House of Gucci is the most acting of any movie ever. It's just people screaming, Mamma Mia, I'm Italian, for 2 hours.
It makes me wonder how many ironic nominations can you get? Because this movie definitely has been in the conversation a lot, but most people are just like, wow, it is over the top and crazy.
That's why, I am so excited about this pick is because I feel like it is the Fast and Furious pick of respectable movies.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I've never been more excited to throw out a movie and be like, actually have a chance at it. Because all I've heard is that it's absurd. The story of Gucci is absurd. And I know they're leaning into it in this one. So I'm personally just excited to see it get some nominations.
I think the full title is Hobbs and Shaw Present House of Gucci.
If there is not a car flying from one building to another in this one, I will walk out. But, it's going to be fine.
And one of the reasons I haven't watched this movie is because we don't, as friends, watch movies together anymore. And this movie feels like a group of people,
for sure.
a little tipsy, just screaming at the screen
Ripping
and clapping.
on it.
I miss that so much. All right, so let's go ahead and take a break. I feel like we got some good noms. I don't know if it can last past this. We might be scraping at the bottom of the barrel, but let's see when we come back.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening so far. And let me just tell you that everything ahead of this commercial is much better than what came before it. That's my guarantee. While I have you here, let me tell you about a website. It's called yourpopfilter.com. And it's everything you need that's related to Pop Filter. Everything Mike, everything Ryan, everything Greg, everything Cassie, everything is there at yourpopfilter.com. While you're there, go to yourpopfilter.com/Amazon. Make that your new Amazon bookmark and do your shopping from there. That way, we get a little piece of the action and Amazon doesn't. Make sure you're also listening to everything that Pop Filter has to offer, which includes the Superhero Show, a podcast that covers every single TV show that's based on a comic book or comic book property, and Movie of the Year, where we sit down and try and figure out what is the single greatest movie of any given year. That's Superhero Show. That's Movie of the Year. And that's yourpopfilter.com. Rate, subscribe, review. Bye.
All right, we are still picking our drafts, trying to get those nominations. We're in about our third round right now, which means I get to start it off. I don't mean to brag. I feel like I've been doing somewhat decent. That's huge for me. And now it might be time to ruin that. Ryan, in this round, do you think, how many nominations do you think we should be aiming for? You think we could still get up to 5 nominations, or are we down to getting 2 nominations?
I think that the goal is to get about 14 is average. So think about it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So if you can aim for 3 or 4 here, I think you're doing okay.
Ooh, okay, 3 or 4.
You have to not get a goose egg in this round, I think. You have to put some points on the board. When I have come in last, which is often, it's because this is the round where I choke. This is a very
Oh my God.
important round.
This, I didn't think there was going to be this much pressure on this round, and now I'm almost
Cassie,
like,
shut up
frozen.
and listen to me. This is the most important thing that has ever happened to
Cassie, take your anxiety and double it, okay? And that's halfway towards how bad you should feel about this.
I was like, you could come on a podcast today. You're just picking movies. It's nothing. It's nothing big. Don't worry about it. And now you're telling me essentially my life depends on this. Like, if I live or die in this fourth round of movie picks is where it all comes down to in my life. This is how I make mom and dad proud. Okay. With that being said, I am going to pick. Oh God, I think I'm gonna go with Encanto. It might be too early to bust out the animation one, but all I know is that the songs be bangers and the people be respecting the bangers. So I don't.
If you're going for 3, it feels like that's what this might have in it.
I think I
3,
got
but-
exact 3.
Yeah.
Is like
This might be
exactly
the
what I
last
pulled.
time. This might be the last time we get a chance to talk about Encanto. Jesus Christ, guys! Just the songs, the whole movie, the colors.
Oh.
Just wow.
Yeah.
I watched it after we did the preview show,
Mhm.
when it was in that bracket, and since then I was like, all right, everybody, shut up! I got to see what this is like. And holy shit, were they right?
And it doesn't stop. It as soon as the movie begins, it's like just movement and color, and there's like, no downtime in it. It's awesome.
I will say that everyone overbuilt up. We don't talk about Bruno
What?
and
No.
undersold.
Did we talk about it too much?
You talked about it too much. Undersold Pressure. That is.
Oh, Surface
Pressure's-
Pressure is
That's
so
the best song of
good.
all fucking time.
The people I was watching it with, one person turned to me and said, "This is a song everybody skips," and I almost broke
What
the
the
TV.
fuck?
I
Whoa.
almost ended every relationship. Like, I was like, "Get out of my face right now."
The only
Simply
reason
no.
I listen to We Don't Talk About Bruno so much is because on the soundtrack it comes after Surface Pressure, and I am constantly looping Surface Pressure, and I don't always like skip back to Surface Pressure. So, yeah, best song.
Do you
It's-
guys think Lin-Manuel Miranda's cool again? Do you think this did it?
I don't
I
know
was
if
one
he-
of the lame people that never thought he wasn't cool. So.
No, Greg, we all like Lin-Manuel Miranda. We all love
We all
Hamilton.
love him.
That's why he's in our Hall of Fame, right, Ryan?
Yep. I do think, Cassie, so one's a guarantee. One nominee, one possible win, right? This could be one of those years where, and the fourth nominee for Best Song from Encanto is this. Like, it really could just take that whole category down.
Yeah. There is, like, you guys were mentioning earlier on, when there is downtime and nothing is happening, that's when the Academy really loves it. And this one, as you mentioned, is nonstop. So
Yeah.
I'm not getting probably that screenplay, probably not. But, songs is at least there for me.
I think you definitely locked down 3, maybe 3+ on that one.
So, like, 4.
Maybe 4.
Maybe 4.
4 minus.
4 minus 1 plus 3. Okay. Books, let's see if you can lock down 3 nominations. What are you going with?
I'm going with one that is on my to watch list, but I haven't quite seen yet. But I've heard a lot of talk of. But I'm not really sure if I'll get that 3. It could be one that Ryan looks at me and is like, no, that'll be 0. I'm going with King Richard.
Shit! That was my next pick.
Okay.
Fuck yeah! Sorry, that makes me
That's a
very
big
proud.
get. I think in round 3, I think that's a huge get.
Are you
Warner
guys ready?
Brothers is going to be all out there, sounding the drums about trying to get multiple nominations for this thing.
I do think it's going to get the noms. I don't know if it'll get wins,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's definitely up there for.
Does anybody have any interest in seeing it? I couldn't be more.
Because of when I was born, because I think when all of us were born, we have this affinity for a certain actor, and I do think we have to get ready for Academy Award winner Will Smith. I really do think it's
Oh, heck
finally
yeah.
going to happen.
That's why I want to see it, because everyone talks about his performance in this, and I do think there's something about he was such a staple figure in so many movies and things in my childhood that I want to see this level of his performance. So
Concussion didn't pan out for him, so this might be the one.
No, Pursuit of Happiness was not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it didn't
yeah,
make
he
that
did.
many people happy.
He did try to get some serious ones. Is this one of the actors? Will he just always get nominated? Is he one of the bigs that the Academy automatically has to put up a nomination for?
It depends on his choices, and we've heard talk of how calculated his choices are. If he decides to go that Meryl Streep route, or not Olivia Colman is the new one, and make Oscar-friendly movies forever, which he might, Ali, Pursuit of Happiness, Concussion, he's been doing this for a while. He's been aiming for this award. He could just be one of those people that they write. I'm not actually in the Academy. They write in every single year.
All right, Books, it sounds like you did a good pick. You probably got more than 3 with this one, and I'm both proud and jealous of you. Greg, what are you doing?
Okay. Whew. All right. I'm going to go with a classic. I won't say its name because it's too scary for me, but I'll call it the Scottish movie. But the Tragedy of Macbeth, because I will say the name because I'm not a dork. I guess I think it's potential Best Picture nom, adapted screenplay, director, best lead actress. So I think I might be looking at 4 or 5 just off this one movie.
Oof. Okay.
It's in black and white.
Right?
A little guy named Willie Shakes wrote the script. Maybe you've heard of him, the Bard, Stratford-upon-Avon much, Come on, guys.
And I think the Coen brothers, or in this case, Coen brother, is in that similar camp as PTA of the Oscars are like, we're never going to give you awards.
No, yeah, you don't get one.
We think it's cool just to have you at the party,
We've heard it's an honor to be nominated, so enjoy this honor one more time.
And Greg, did they do the thing with that one Romeo and Juliet where they made it like spicy in modern day, or is this just good old classic Tragedy of Macbeth?
You know what it looks like to me? It looks like very much almost a little bit like theater in that they have a very strong take. It looks like he chose a very strong visual language, the black and white, sort of like dreamlight minimalistic sets from what I've seen. So it's definitely, it's not like a just straight remake of the play Macbeth. Mm-hmm. It's got a very strong visual style that I think is supposed to bring out the weirdness and everything.
And another Apple, right?
Oh, is it? Is this another? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Apple original A24 joint venture, I guess.
They are doing it this season. All right, Ryan, let's go ahead and go on to you. What are you picking next?
Well, I am sad to say that I just got ganked twice in a row.
Boom! Yeah, Books! High five!
But Cassie specifically not with Encanto.
Okay,
so.
great. Good to know. Again, there was no pressure
just
on
with
that
Greg
pick.
and Mac.
Humbling, all right.
But Greg was referencing the play that shall not be named, and I will pick a movie with people who would do things like not name that play because of their extreme drama nerdiness. Lin-Manuel Miranda is back on the draft with Tick, Tick, Boom. And
oh, yeah.
I just watched this movie, too. Books, you picked this for tried to get on the movie bracket, right? And I hadn't seen it then. I've since seen it. It's a lot. Like...
It is a lot. It's just the way that theater, but in the way that theater people are. It's so...
It feels accurate.
It's Theater Person, the movie. Like, it's Theater Nerd, the movie. And just Andrew Garfield's like... And he's... If he doesn't get... He should win. If he doesn't get nominated, perfect. I'm going to freak out. But just his whole, like, how his face has to do plus 10% for every emotion is the theater nerdiest thing I've ever seen.
I've never seen more face acting in a film before. It's brilliant.
Like a robot and like doing an impersonation of a human. Andrew Garfield is amazing.
Isn't it just nice whenever you see Andrew Garfield in a movie, wouldn't you say? Isn't it always a kind of a thrill to see him?
It only happened twice this year, as we talked about on the previous show. With this in the eyes of Tammy Faye. But there's a way that this could sneak into a couple of the loudies because when we're not nominating explosions, we are nominating musicals, and that's sort of where I see my plan going, my strategy going this Oscar draft is let's just get all of the musicals I can. Cassie ganked one from me too with Encanto, but it takes a lot of sound work to make that shit happen,
And you have like score. Is soundtrack separate from score, but original song is separate from right? Like that is a lot of categories.
I honestly don't know if we can get original song because wasn't this a musical before?
No, yeah, okay. None of these songs is original. You're right.
Most of the time when you do a Broadway play for a movie, you will write one new song just to get the nomination. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they did that for this movie.
I can say this seems like the nerdiest Oscars to date. The 2021 Oscars, like, we've got a lot of nerd shit happening in this one. We got sci-fi and hella musicals up here, and I couldn't believe what I'm seeing with my own eyes.
The pandemic has made us all indoor kids, and so now we're all just into Dungeons and Dragons.
There's no sports. We got
Quiplash.
Fashion and musicals up in this hoe. Like, that's it. All right, we're gonna go Ryan, Serpentine Motion. It is coming back to you with another pick. What are you going for this time?
I am going to keep Hollywood's love of itself alive in a movie that no one has liked. Not a single person has stepped up and said, I enjoyed the film Being the Ricardos. And
or
yet,
been excited about the fact that it was going to be made. There was never any enthusiasm about this movie at any point.
But it's about real people who made entertainment, and Hollywood cannot get enough of that shit. Nicole Kidman, Cassie, you said that is Will Smith going to be on this list of nominated every year? Nicole Kidman is on that list. Javier Bardem just won or was nominated for, I think, a Golden Globe or something recently, and no one have been talking about him so far. But I think, everyone's going to get nominated. What's his name from Whiplash? J. Jonah Jameson. J.K. Simmons. As William Frawley, as Fred Mertz. Like, all of these nominations could happen, and everyone will be pissed. Even the people who voted for them will be pissed. Like, what the fuck? I voted for that, but that movie sucked.
This was the one I was debating between when I was going Encanto, and simply because I heard nothing about it and read the synopsis and couldn't understand why it was being made, and I was like, surely not. But it was old-timey, and I was like, white Academy people love that shit. So this was my biggest debate. And it sounds like I fucked up, but again, it sounds like a bad movie. So Encanto at least brings joy, and I'll tell myself that.
Let's be clear. The Academy just injected a flood of POCs into its Academy, still overwhelmingly old white males. Like, you could put 600 people of color into something, but if there's already 30,000 old white males, it's not going to make that much difference.
Simply can't. All right, Greg, we are back to you. What are you picking?
Okay. All right. So this might, I don't know if I'm just being silly here, but I don't think action movies normally get that many nominations, but there's kind of like Hollywood royalty going through a big like metamorphosis right now. And No Time to Die came out, which is a Bond movie. And it's also kind of like, it's sort of like a celebration of everything Bond. Every Bond movie comes with an original song. So I think there's a lot of different categories. The Loudies, obviously.
Is this Billie Eilish?
Billie Eilish is the songstress. But I don't know. I didn't see the movie. I haven't seen a James Bond movie in like 10 years. I don't have anything against it or the franchise, but I do have a feeling like there's maybe 3 or 4 like honorary, like, oh yes, this is a passing of the torch in the Bond franchise.
Do they have a category for best car? Because you could probably get that one. Dude,
that would be cool. I think that as a shout out to earlier ones, I think they bring out the Aston Martin from like back in the day, the DB17 or whatever it is, which is such a beautiful car, like probably one of the most beautiful cars ever. So I hope that that award is there for him.
This movie does a lot of. I've never seen a Bond movie before that is like. I hope you saw other Bond movies. Like, it is sort of the MCU-ification of Bond in that there's a ton of fan service and Easter eggs like that. And I guess you could just call it like a sequel to the other Daniel Craig movies, but they really did actually make like close the arc of his 5 movies.
That's pretty cool.
So we do see him learn and grow, but we also see like, hey, remember this thing? Remember this thing from Quantum of Solace? No, nobody remembers anything from Quantum of Solace. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Ryan, would you recommend, like, if I were like, oh, I want to see this 5 movie arc of Bonds, is that worth it? Is that a worthwhile pursuit?
Well, it does have that Star Trek thing of the odd ones are good and the even ones are shit, but the 3 odd ones are, well, Casino Royale and Skyfall, I would put on the best Bonds of all time. And then No Time to Die I thought it was good. I thought it was fine.
And how do you feel about it as a pick, Ryan? It is an action movie.
I think Greg said it perfectly. Like, Loudies and song, it's going to get them all because it's Hollywood royalty.
Right. Books, let's go ahead and go on to you.
I'm not doing good right now, guys. Like, emotionally, like, you guys finally came to play for the first time ever, and things are not going well for me right now.
Yeah, usually you would have like each of your top 5 picks by now.
All 5 of them.
Yeah.
He's normally dancing around the studio just screaming about how he's the champion already. So this is big for us. Books, what are you taking?
I'm going with the movie that I personally did not enjoy, but I've heard so many people talk about, and I don't know if that means it's Oscar buzz or if people are just ramping up this movie for no reason, but that is Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny how you can tell what someone's movie is.
Yeah.
People won't shut up about it, but I think it's bad.
Totally.
Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I couldn't believe on the preview show, everyone was like, fuck this movie!
It's a bad one. It is a bad one indeed. Yeah, I don't know. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio. Is he a go-to for? Do you think he could do like actor?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
It's totally possible.
And does it got like screenplay? What all do we think this one can pull off?
The other thing too is that nobody seems to like Adam McKay's serious turn more than the Oscars. You know, like I don't know anybody who like loved Vice, and Big Short was good, but nobody loved it. But the Oscars just freak out. It's almost like you're finally no longer a clown making Anchorman and Talladega Nights. You've grown up, and so we will award you for that. And everybody I've heard talk about that has actually seen Don't Look Up is like, this is the clowniest, far more clowny than anything else he's ever done. Like Anchorman was a much better movie about like better written characters than Don't Look Up, and but still it had a serious analogy or whatever.
And whatever it did. Okay. It's now my turn. I feel as if I'm lucky to get one nomination. Ryan, is that fair to aim for here? Should I set my hopes higher?
Yes. But also, I want to win this shit, and now I'm afraid. So no, set them low.
All right, Ryan, I will do that for you here. I don't know what else to do besides to pick the one that I think will obviously get nominated for documentary. It's going to be Summer of Soul.
It is fun to have the opportunity to be able to talk about a documentary, which we don't always do. And Summer of Soul is certainly one of the most entertaining ones I've seen in a long time.
It does have, it's, you know what? One nom for me. Let's go team.
And it has a good chance of winning. And I think it has a good chance of winning our best movie of the year. Like, that's how fucking good this movie is.
But do the Academy care about good?
It does have black people. They don't love that. But I do think that this is so moving. Like, it seems so basically made, but put together in such a way where you can't help but be so moved that, yeah, I do think it has what it takes to take the whole thing down.
At least get a win. I would like that. All right. We have one more rounds of drafts. Should we save that for after the breaky? You guys need to really think about it here?
Yeah. Let's take a break and really prepare.
Hola, Filterinos. I just wanted to interrupt real briefly and say thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. If you want to support us a little more directly, you can go to patreon.com/yourpopfilter. There, depending on what tier you pick, $1 a month, $5 a month. If you're crazy, anything more than $5 a month, don't do that. You can get extra content. There's extra shows, extra series, behind-the-scenes stuff. You could pay for Ryan to draw you a picture. I can write you a poem. You can get the shirts off our very own backs. All of that and so much more over at patreon.com/yourpopfilter. While you're on the internet, you should check out Shady Monk. He does all the tunes you've been listening to. He's on Bandcamp, he's on Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever kids get their music these days that I'm too old to know. Shady Monk lives there. You can probably follow him on Twitter and Instagram as well. That's Shady Monk. Wherever you get music, check him out.
Okay, it is time for our final round. This is our last chance to scoop up any nominations we can. I get to start it off, and I've made... I'm playing a different game here. I feel like everybody brought their A game. I'm just going to go full true to myself here. I don't know if you guys know this. There was a Fast and Furious movie that came out this year. Let's put it on the bracket. F9, The Fast Saga. Let's get some loudies on this one. I'm coming for coolest car nomination. I'm coming for straight for you, Greg, with this one.
I feel like every time we do the draft, I feel like someone makes a pick like this where it's kind of a little bit of a joke pick, and then I give that person a hard time, and then that person whips my ass in the draft. So you know what? This is a great pick. It was an entertaining movie. Good job.
It doesn't feel like I can't personally do a draft without throwing out a dumb pick.
Yeah.
And if there's a Fast and Furious movie, I gotta respect it. This is the IE in me. I have to bring this. I have to represent. So it is going on my draft, and we'll see if I could do anything. Ryan, are you feeling better about your chances now?
No, absolutely not. Well, I am a little bit because you think that coolest car is an Oscar, and
No, it is. It's a secret one. If you watch after both credit scenes, they actually give another nomination, and it's coolest car. And you, as Mr. Movie Boy, I would expect you to know that, but apparently you're a fool.
so
Books-
when we say, "Oh, F9 didn't get any nominations," you're going to be like, "Oh, you didn't watch till after the credits of the nomination show, where it gets so many more nominations."
And I don't
The
know
part
why.
where right after the news starts, they come in with one more award.
And every year, like, I don't know why nobody has tried this technique. I could always beat you with this technique, Ryan. I could just say, "Oh no, you guys just didn't see it. It was after the other credits."
Can we do this right now, though? Because we've talked about two, right? What's the F9 car of the movie? Do you remember? Does one stick out?
What
What goes to space? So I'm going to say it's that one.
It's the space.
It's
the
the one
space
that goes
car.
to space.
And then Bond's Aston Martin. Those two would definitely be nominated, right?
And Lightning McQueen. He automatically gets nominated every year.
And
Okay.
there's going to be, I bet you there is something in Licorice Pizza that would be worth nominating. Yeah.
One of the horses in what did I pick?
Power
What's
of the
that?
Dog.
Power of the Dog. They're gonna count. Old
Big
school.
fucking
Drive My
spaceship
Car
from
probably
Dune.
has a car that's pretty cool.
Drive My Car has a car up in it for sure.
There we
This
go.
is the car from Drive My Car.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Books. What is your next pick?
My
Your
next
last
pick is
pick.
staying very true to myself as well, but I think it has a shot for some noms too, and that is Spider-Man No Way Home.
So
Now,
from
Greg.
there, the car nominee is the Spider Buggy.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. We need a major modern Spider-Man property that takes the spider buggy seriously, not just as window dressing, not just as something in the background, but as something Spider-Man uses to get from place to place.
8 years ago, that would have seemed insane. Now it's
Yeah.
like, it's definitely going to happen.
For
Very
sure,
soon.
dude. Coming to Disney Plus, Spider Buggy. Spider Buggy gets hit by lightning, it comes to life.
Spider Buggy Goes Bananas, starring Lindsay Lohan.
Greg, this round I'm claiming as the movie that speaks to you the most. Does it hurt that Books took this one from you?
A little bit, but I was on the fence with whether I was going to pick it or not. I definitely think it has the action movie Loudy potential. But this one I think is a more of a crowd pleaser than a nom getter.
There is a Best Supporting Actor award that I really think it should get, but we're not allowed to talk about it.
Can't do that.
Oh,
Because Andrew
embargoed.
Garfield was only in 2 movies this year: The Eyes of Tammy Faye
Obviously.
and Tick Tick Boom.
But man, if he had been in this movie, he probably would have elevated it like basically to like a new territory just by the depth of his performance had he been in it.
Had. Do you think out of all the Marvel movies, this is the smartest pick
From the year?
From this year?
from this year?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's the most celebrated one.
Eternals kind of looks like shit sometimes.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
And
All right, Greg.
Shang-Chi was... Shang-Chi had a ton of good effects, but it didn't seem like, oh, we have to nominate this. It just seemed like that level of what we always get in every movie.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, let's go ahead and go to you. What is your final pick?
All right. Well, I'm glad that the round is like true to ourselves, and I think that this is one that's going to like land one nomination. So I don't think this is a splashy pick, but I am excited by it. The French Dispatch. Maybe best director, maybe best screenplay, maybe there'll be something else in there for me. But I'm excited to have it in the round where we talk about ourselves because I love talking about myself. And I think that French Dispatch would be a great movie.
Tarantino, PTA, that group of cool kids that always get nominated for screenplay. Wes Anderson is also in that. So I think that's a guarantee. But the one you should watch out for is Jeffrey Wright. Do you guys know him? He played the Watcher on What If, and James Bond, one of James Bond's or Daniel Craig, James Bond's sort of associates. He plays this like James Baldwin figure in this movie, and I think he could get nominated. Like he steals the movie.
He's
And
such
I know,
an amazing actor.
yeah.
And do you think the Oscars, the Academy, is going to recognize his greatness?
Well,
Do you
again,
think there's a
because
shot for it?
he is an African American, but I do think that it is possible.
Perfect. Greg, it sounds like you had a pretty strong last one.
Yeah, I
glad-
feel good about that.
Yeah, you did good job, buddy. This time, good job, my friend. And Ryan, you get to bring it all home with a final pick. What are you doing?
I will say before I announce that that whole deal where the three of you team up against me is completely off the table. It is 100% off. I genuinely think There are literally no goose eggs.
Ooh, wow, that would be amazing.
Ryan, F9 is up there.
Okay, no, I take it back. F9. Other than F9, I do think that there are no goose eggs. Thank you for that correction, Cassie.
Yeah.
But for my final pick, let's get super splashy. Guys, there is a movie coming out, or that came out this year, that is a animated documentary foreign language film. And I think it will literally get nominated for all three of those things. It is called Flee, Flee, not Flea. And they took a documentary, animated it, and then it was recorded in a foreign language. And it's supposed to be so good that it is a contender in all three of those categories. That has never been done before.
Dang. Do you think they made the choice to animate it solely for this?
Get another nomination, yeah. You know, that Oscar draft is coming up. We better animate this.
I hadn't heard of this, but it sounds pretty freaking awesome. All right, so let's go ahead. That was the very final pick. Let's go ahead and see our teams here. See what movies we picked. I'll go through mine. I started off. I got Power of the Dog, House of Gucci, Encanto, and Summer of Soul, and then bringing it home for me, my biggest contender, F9, The Fast Saga. So I'm doing great this year. Books, let's go over your team.
All right, so I've got Drive My Car, Coda, King Richard, Don't Look Up, and Spider-Man No Way Home. Feeling pretty good about mine.
That F9 thing is going to fuck Cassie. Like,
Yeah.
everything was going so good, but McKenna's team is just going to have one or two more nominations.
I can't not fuck up right at the end. It's just my go-to. I have to stay true. All right, Greg, let's see. Let's review your team.
All right, so I am Dune, Licorice Pizza, The Tragedy of Macbeth, No Time to Die, and The French Dispatch. I believe this will be my personal best showing ever, and that is all we can ask of ourselves, is that we improve steadily over time, and that's what I'm hoping will happen here.
If you have a goose egg, I think that would be a shock. So, congratulations,
There
dude.
you go.
I do like to hear that. I'm chuffed.
Is it safe to say he's hitting double digits?
Double digits,
yeah.
right, Ryan? Yeah.
Oh, I think you guys are all four of us are hitting double digits.
Wow, it is a good year for us. And Ryan, Mr. Movies, go ahead and review your team. Tell us how you think you're going to do.
Well, I have Belfast and West Side Story, which means I win, period. And then I've got Tick, Tick, Boom, and Bean, the Ricardos, which that could be 0 or 20 right there. Like, I really don't know with those two movies. And then I finished it off with Flee, an animated foreign language documentary.
Ryan, would you say in your first two picks you have the potential to get like 25 to 30 nominations just out of those two?
I would say 20, yeah.
20, yeah.
That's insane. Should a movie be allowed to do that? Should
Oh,
we
no.
stop the Academy?
Are you introducing, like, laws to Congress right now?
Yeah.
Should this be legal?
Should we allow Ryan to have this is what I want to know. And I'm voting no, personally.
I feel like we gave him a run for his money. We comported ourselves well. Probably any two of us will beat him. Any two. The last two, the third and fourth place, I bet, will do better than him alone.
I legit think that's true. And again, not to be a dick, and you guys understand that I'm saying not to be a dick before literally every sentence I ever say, right?
To be a dick, yeah.
Not to be a dick, but I've never sweated this before. Like, it was such a clear victory for me every single year. And this is going to be close. This is going to be tough.
Ultimately, though, probably you do still come in first, right, Ryan?
I think Books gave it to me with Drive My Car in the first round.
Oh, thanks,
Sorry.
Books.
So
Sorry.
thank your Books, kids.
Let's not blame it on Fast and Furious anymore. I thought M9 was going to always be the scapegoat.
The position everybody truly cares about, though, is second place. Between Greg and Books, I'm assuming. Who do we think is going to pull off that one?
Oh, that's a good question. And it's super, super close. Again,
Yeah.
Cassie far and fourth. That's clear, right?
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
contest there. It's fine. I'm not even going to make the argument. It's okay.
I'm saying 16 to 15, and I don't know. Like,
You know what it's going to be? It's going to come down to one of either No Time to Die or Spider-Man.
that's
Like, it's going to be the differential between those movies or
ones.
something.
and Marvel is pushing, and the Oscars want viewers for
Yeah.
a Spider-Man Best Picture nom. And if that happens, Spider-Man could get nominated in every category, and then it's Books maybe for the win.
Oh yeah, dang. Wild card.
That would be insane.
Books literally said, I just came in with my wild cards. And
Yes.
it could be Spider-Man
That's
that
true.
dooms us. Just like
That's
he has
true.
doomed my marriage.
All right, you guys, those are our picks for the season. We'll see how we turn out. That's it for this episode. Next week, we got in our wrap-ups, we are going to be doing the mixtape. And so
Yeah.
be sure to tune in for that. Caitlin's hosting it. It's going to get extra wild.
Is this a good idea, guys?
It's a
No,
terrible
that's what
idea.
makes it fun. That's what makes it kind of interesting.
She said we have to hold sparklers the entire time.
She's also making, like, everyone gets 5 picks. Like, she doesn't care how long this mixtape goes. She wants it to get as wild as possible. So enjoy that. That's next week. In the meantime, keep watching them movies.